Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me at the back? My name is Gloria Kerwin. Currently, I'm the director of the Bachelor in Social Studies degree here in Trinity College. And I imagine that many of you are here today know a little bit already about the BSS degree. That's why you've come to hear a little bit more. So you'll know already, or many of you will know, that the Bachelor in Social Studies degree is the social work degree. It is the degree that leads to the professional qualification in social work. So when people have completed the 4 years here in Trinity College, they are eligible to register with the Social Work Registration Board. And there are very few undergraduate degree programmes that qualify people to actually apply for direct registration with the board. The BSS degree here in Trinity is one of them. The other undergraduate degree that offers that same route is offered by University College Cork, but it is only open to people who are 23 years of age or older. So de facto, the degree here in Trinity, the BSS degree, is really the only direct route to social work qualification for Leaving Cert school leavers who come straight into college after they have done their Leaving Cert. All other routes require either an age qualification, such as the one in Cork, that you must be over 23. And beyond that, the only other route into professional social work is by doing a basic undergraduate degree in social science and then hoping that you can succeed in getting on one of the masters in social work programmes that are offered by a number of universities. Trinity is one, UCD is another, and UCG offers a third one. So there aren't many routes into professional social work in this country, and as I've said, the only one that is a direct route for Leaving Cert students entering college is the BSS degree here in Trinity. And of course, we're very pleased to be able to offer this. We are allowed to offer it because the college has been running social work qualification courses for over 70 years now and has the longest history of all the universities in the Republic of Ireland around social work education. And built on that history and that engagement with this area of practice and all the expertise that obviously has come with such a long engagement in this field, Trinity has been allowed to retain its undergraduate degree programme as a professional qualification level degree, and it continues to be recognised by the profession and the registration board in this country. We have a leaflet. We have two leaflets, one for each of the programmes we're going to talk to you about. The blue one is the leaflet that gives you quite a lot of detail on the BSS degree, but at the back we have given you a number of useful links to different websites, the addresses of some very useful websites, including the Social Work Registration Board. It's called CROU, C-R-O-U, so it's www.carou.ie. And if anybody has any enduring concerns about what level they will be qualified in social work if they pursue the BSS degree, one place to go where you'll get your clear and independent information is the CROU website, because on that website they list the courses that they recognise as professional qualification programmes and from which they draw their registrants, the people who can register to be social workers. So as Tony said, here in the School of Social Work and Social Policy we offer two degree programmes. TR084 is the degree I'm talking about at the moment, the Bachelor in Social Studies. Tony in a few minutes will talk to you about TR083, which is the Bachelor of Arts in Sociology and Social Policy. So I'm just drawing your attention to the fact that the codes are very close. There's clearly only one digit in the difference between the two codes. So please take care when you're filling out your CAO application form that you enter the code for the course that you want and you don't get them both mixed up. They are two different courses. They are both social science degrees, very good, good quality and quite broad social science degrees, but the BSS has this focus on social work, whereas Tony will explain to you, the Bachelor in Sociology and Social Policy has a different focus, but one equally valid for people who are interested in the topics that it focuses on. Okay. So the BSS degree, it combines the social work qualification and the social science undergraduate level degree. Essentially, when people are qualified, they are social scientists. They are qualified with an undergraduate 4-year honours degree in social science. And that is a very strong element of the programme. That as you go through the 4 years, you are introduced and engage with the full range of social science subjects that are offered to students who pursue other social science degree programmes in this university or elsewhere. But in addition, and it does require a little bit of additional work, I'm afraid, in order to achieve this, we also clearly put together part of the programme which enables people to graduate as fully qualified social workers. In our course, we have an intake of 45 students every year. We have a very nice mix of both school leavers, mature students, and people who come from other countries or who come into college through various other routes, such as the Trinity Access Programme. So it's a nice blend. The class is small enough that everybody gets to know everybody, and I think generally there's a very supportive and interesting kind of class mix, and people form friendships that endure for a lifetime. But certainly as the class goes through the 4 years, it is a small enough group that there is a lot of support from one's classmates to get through all the work that has to be covered. Social work in Ireland is it's certainly alive and well. It's one career path that has survived the ups and downs of the economic conditions that we've endured over the last few years. Like any profession, it is possibly a little bit harder to get employment, but it hasn't suffered the same level of problems in terms of graduates finding employment as other professional courses have. One of the reasons for that is that across the whole country, it's only about 200 students who graduate every year as professional social workers. That's a very, very small number in a society which employs social workers in hospitals, in health services, in criminal justice settings, in a whole range of settings. So there are constantly jobs available, and there's a small number of graduates every year coming into the pool to help fill those vacancies. So as yet, our experience has been that our graduates are finding work, not just any work, but the work that they want and the work that they're interested in. Starting salaries for social work are around 37,000. Wouldn't be less than that, might be a little bit higher in certain sectors. And I think after one qualifies, you have what's called a generic qualification when you leave college, which basically means you're employable in a whole range of different sectors. But after you qualify, then you can go on, if you so wish, and specialise in certain areas by availing of in-service training or going on to further postgraduate study. But there's no requirement to do further postgraduate study in order to be employed as a qualified social worker. All right, so what might you be doing if you come in? Well, across the 4 years, as I say, you're going to get opportunities to study a wide variety of subjects, so there's something here for everybody for sure. We cover modules in social policy, social research, sociology, politics or political science as we call it now, psychology, law, economics, and so on and so forth. But these are the general range of social science subjects that you'll find in most social science degrees, and the BSS offers them the same as any other such degree would. But in addition, because it has a particular focus on social work, students will also get a lot of opportunities to study social work theory, ethics, counselling skills, group work, community work, equality studies, and many, many other related topics. We also have to introduce you to the various different contexts in which social workers may, find employment. You have to be familiar with the particular issues and challenges that social workers face in the different sites of practice where they will eventually be employed. So we also offer modules on this full range of topics, so that you go very well prepared into the work experience that is built into the programme and obviously into the jobs that you'll take up when you qualify. So you can see the full range there: mental health, disability, criminal justice, and so on and so forth. Many opportunities before you're expected to go on placement, before you qualify, to engage with the issues and the debates in all of these areas of practice. I think a very exciting part of our degree, and it's a unique feature across social science degree programmes, is that the BSS programme offers people the opportunity to gain work experience in a range of social work settings and settings related to social work. So that is one of the reasons why this degree allows people to become eligible to register as social workers when they qualify. Because by the time you finish, you will have had 4 full-time work experience placements, working alongside professionally qualified people in a whole range of settings. And that will strongly increase your knowledge and your experience and the skill set that you graduate with. So we organise it by arranging 1 placement every year. It does require it eats a little bit into people's vacation time, particularly in first and second year, but the placements are shorter in first and second year. So after exams and after the academic year is finished, we do ask students to undertake these shorter placements. In third and fourth year, the placements are longer, but they mainly happen during the academic year. So by the time you reach fourth year, the whole of the first semester is spent not in college, but actually out on a placement. We talk to you about what you're interested in. We don't force you out into a placement you don't want. We work with you to identify the particular areas you're interested in, the locations you'd like to do your placement in, and we try and take into account any particular needs or interests that you have. Every placement is in a different setting, and for those who are interested, there are opportunities for placements abroad. Not every student will take up an international social work placement, but for those who would like international experience, we offer that opportunity. So this year we've had students in Chicago, in Australia, in India, in Malawi, and so on and so forth. The settings can vary a little bit, again depending on what students are particularly interested in. But it is a core feature of the programme that if a student would like an international opportunity, we will do our best to arrange it if we can find a suitable placement. Is social work the right career for you? Well, that's a question I can't really answer. What I can offer you are some ideas about how to think about that. Firstly, it's helpful to find out what social workers do. And you can do that by talking to people who work in the profession. There, again, at the back of the leaflet, there are some useful websites. One in particular is the Irish Association of Social Workers. And on their website, you'll find a lot of very current information about the activities that social workers engage in Ireland today. There may be books in your local library. Clearly, the internet is another very helpful source, and even YouTube will have some videos that have been made by not the Irish Association of Social Workers, but the American association called the National Association of Social Workers. They have quite a number of very useful short clips up on YouTube about the different roles that social workers do in society. Another very useful thing is to try some volunteer work in your local area, something you're interested in. Just roll up your sleeves and get stuck in and try and work alongside people who need assistance and help, and see, do you like it? See, is it the kind of thing that you enjoy and that you can be interested in when you get the practical experience. And I think many people, I know myself, when I thought about taking up a degree in social work, I think it is quite normal that people think, oh, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I wouldn't be able for this, maybe I'm being too ambitious, or how do I really know that I would be suited to this? I think that's quite a normal question for people to ask before they enter a degree. You're not. That's why you do a degree, because you're not ready yet. But what's important is that you bring with you an interest and a motivation into the degree, and then you have 4 years to learn the skills and the knowledge and the theory and get the practice experience and all that you need to eventually practice as a professional social worker. But at the beginning, no, of course you don't have all that. That's why you need to come and do a degree. So I think it's fair enough to just have an interest and a strong desire to do this programme. And so long as that's grounded in real and accurate information about what the job entails, then I think you probably are on the right track if you really do feel strongly motivated. So if you are motivated and really clear this is your career path for the moment at least, then yes, BSS is a really wise choice. If you're not so sure, then it is wise to think about registering for another social science, general social science degree, which doesn't require you to, practice as a social worker in the course of the degree, exactly like the one that Tony will talk to you about in a few minutes. Because you can go the master's route, you can do a postgraduate course after you qualify in social work, and it will be a longer time frame for you to actually arrive at a professional qualification, but it will get you to the same place at the end of the day. So if you're not sure, a general social science degree is another very good option. Okay, there again is the course code. Last year the CAO points required were 465. It has been higher in previous years. I have no idea how it will go this year, but it probably will be in and around those same points. Mature students have a different entry route, and there is information here out in the foyer in the Arts Building today for any mature students who are not sure about how they actually apply. And I'm happy to answer any questions on that. But it's through an application to Trinity College as well as the application to the CAO. So we have a stand over in the examinations hall where you can find our leaflets, where there will be people available to talk to you one-to-one, and you're very welcome to drop by the stall at any time today. We have some of the information leaflets here, and we would encourage you to visit our website that's here on this overhead. So thank you very much. Yeah.
I think I'll have a go. This is the orange button. Get the orange button. Let me practice doing Mac Mini now. This is where just to get rid of the orange button, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah. I say yeah.
It's the same as any other slideshow.
Oh yeah. Okay. Where's my slideshow here?
That option right there.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry. No, there we are.
And then it's just like any other one.
Ah, yeah. I'm not, to be truthful, I'm not sure. I'm going to give a short talk now about TR083. Yeah. Any minute now, as soon as this conversation is finished. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry. Hi, good afternoon. For the 4 or 5 people remaining, it's slightly surreal. I need binoculars to see the people at the back, but so do feel free to come up the front. This talk is about TR083, as we call it, Sociology and Social Policy. In our School of Social Work and Social Policy, we regard them as it were, sister degrees, because there's quite a strong overlap between the two. The basic difference between this degree and the social work degree is that the core kind of programs, if you like, are about social policy. And there's a series of social policy modules and courses throughout the 4 years that run in parallel with some sociology courses, and built around that then some other modules from other subject areas. So the kind of things we ask here, to give you a very interesting case study of, well, what on earth are social policies? I'm not going to give you the long, boring academic definition, but if you wanted a very interesting example of a kind of a case study that some of our 4th year students are doing at the moment, is they're posing the question about the funding of 3rd level education, a subject dear to your hearts at the moment, I'm guessing, about asking these kind of questions. Well, who at the moment makes social policies about access to education? And it is an important question, because access to education is a right. I'm sure you'll agree. And it's important to know what the policies are about them and who makes social policy here. If you've been looking at the news recently, you'll have seen, amongst other people, students and student organisations are trying to make social policy by making their voices heard about what might or might not happen in regard to funding and fees and so on. But equally, university managers, civil servants, politicians and the general public and taxpayers are involved in policy. And so the kind of question you would ask, and this is a very important social policy question, is who at the moment actually provides for 3rd level education? And who should provide? What should the mix be between individual students and their families on the one hand, and the generality of taxpayers on the other? And most interestingly, and this is the question you ask all the time in social policy, what would be the fairest way of funding education? Now, this is a subject, needless to say, on which people come to blows, but it's a very good illustration of the kind of controversies you find broadly in social policy. And it's a very good example, too, of a defining characteristic of most of the things you study in this programme, which is that, rather tantalisingly, there are no right answers here. It's about understanding the broad social context, having some kind of criteria for defining what appropriate policies are, and then looking for evidence to make a case about policies one way or the other. Now, who takes this course? It's the same mix as in the case of the BSS. It's a mixture of school leavers, mature students, some international students, and visiting students come from other countries on the Erasmus programs. So you get quite a mix in this program, as you do with BSS. I think at the moment in one of our 2nd year classes, I think somebody quipped recently that we have students from, let me get this right, 3 continents and 5 different countries who speak between them something like nine different languages when you add together the various linguistic capabilities of all the students. So these are the 2 schools that run this degree programme, Social Work and Social Policy on the one hand, of which Laurie and I are members, and the School of Social Sciences and Philosophy, which is the family department, if you like, that brings together political scientists, economists and sociologists. these is a series of slides here. I won't detain you going through them all in great detail. Maybe just to stress this point, that the structure of this degree is quite similar to BESS. In that, in the first year you do it, everybody does a series of core courses. Social policy, sociology, political science, economic policy, and so on. And then those 4 core, and then a range of 2 modules chosen from this list of optional subjects at the end, just like in BESS. So the program, in terms of its structure, broad at the beginning, narrower at the end, is very like BESS. And I suppose it's also worth saying that there's a strong overlap in the content of the courses. Indeed, in many of the lectures and tutorials, the students sitting beside you are likely to be doing BESS. Some of them might also be doing BSS, social work, as well. So there's a strong overlap in the program. So if BESS is one of your choices, or one of your, even your preferred choice, let me say, and you're a bit doubtful about whether you're going to get the points if you're a school leaver, then think about this as an option, because there's a strong overlap between the two, and many of the optional courses that are available in the BESS program are also available to students doing this course. I'm guessing that if you wanted to summarise the difference between BESS and this program, you might say that the orientation obviously in this course is that there's, let's say, more sociology than business and economics, but nevertheless there's a high commonality between them. This is your year 2 modules, again, where you have choices, and there's a course down there listed at the end which you may not have heard of during the courses they call the broad curriculum option. It's something we're asked to draw to your attention, because it means that in this degree, as in lots of the other degrees, in second year you have the option of doing one course which is wholly removed from the main academic content of your chosen degree program. So if you were doing this degree, for instance, you might choose to do a history option, or you might choose to do one in science, or there's one in biology or philosophy, and so on. And lots of the undergraduate degree programs throughout the university have this broad curriculum thing on the menu for your choice. This is the year 3 module. At this point, I suppose, just want to draw your attention to the fact that an important component of what you would do in this degree, as you would incidentally if you were doing sociology as part of a TSM, is that you learn about social research methods. And so in third year you do, in second year you do an introduction to social research. In third year you do this course here called Researching Societies, where you're learning the practical skills about doing research. How do you pick samples? How would you do an opinion poll survey? How can you use historical archives to do historical social research, and so on. And in third year, completing it in fourth year, you actually then undertake a dissertation, by which we mean a project or a thesis which runs through about 15,000 words. And this is a defining part of your fourth year program. You do this dissertation. It's the equivalent of one full year long course. You yourself choose the topic, and you're allocated a supervisor. And it gives you, if you like, in a final year, a chance to much more narrowly, or much more specifically, if you like, define your own interests. So students end up, as it were, doing research on a topic that they've developed a curiosity about in college, or that they've always wanted to do some research on from quite early on in college. You can see here in your fourth year, there's a compulsory course, Poverty, Inequality and Redistribution. There's a dissertation, there's a course on ageing, and there's one other module, again, from a long list of options that vary from year to year. As regards careers in sociology and social policy, I can't be as specific as Gloria. This is not a professional course in the sense that it does not give you a qualification that allows you to have a professional registration of the type Gloria described for social work. But in practice, the range of things that graduates on this program do is actually quite wide. Lots of them are in social research. Some of them work in the voluntary sector. They work on practical projects in youth work, in inner city development work. One or two have gone into journalism, and of course the old reliable, some of them have become public servants in central government or local government departments, and so on. I suppose it's worth saying at this point, by the way, that one of the career advantages of this degree is that because there's a strong overlap in the academic content of this degree and BESS, you can find yourself applying and being equally well qualified to apply for many of the jobs and so on that become available, for which BESS, for which business and economics graduates and so on apply. Because you will have done 2 years economics, you'll have done some political science, you'll have done research methods, just like they have. So the advantage of this degree from a career point of view is it doesn't pin you down to a kind of a narrow range of options. These are the kind of employers I've mentioned. Postgraduate study is, of course, another option. Amongst the options that our students have recently taken is some of them are doing what we now call our MSc in Applied Social Research, which is a practical course which further develops their research skills, and it entails a placement on a research site where they work alongside professional researchers doing research on topical issues. So if you've seen the newspapers in the last day or two, you'll have seen lots of reference and indeed media interviews to research done on children in Ireland, this famous Growing Up in Ireland study. You may have heard of it. And I think in this morning's paper there was a detailed analysis about findings about family behaviour and childhood obesity and so on. Now, and of course the big argument among the researchers here, why is there rising childhood obesity? Is this purely a medical or genetic phenomenon? Are genetically obese parents going to have genetically obese children? Or is it, as psychologists and sociologists would say, a matter of social behaviour, a kind of behaviour that the state can do something to change and so on? It's an example of the way research is applied to a policy question. Now, one or two of those papers that you will have read, two of those pieces of research you'll have read about in the papers in the last 2 days were done in part by graduates who had done this MSc in Applied Social Research here. Equally, it's also important to say that there's a link between this degree and social work in this sense. Some students, when they get through to the end of this 4th year, get to the point where they've developed a practical interest in becoming professionally qualified in social work. Some of them then go on to do the Masters in Social Work here in college in Trinity, but there are also Masters programmes in UCD and in Cork, and I think in Galway as well, Glory's confirming. And I suppose the point to stress about that is if during the course of this undergraduate degree people acquire some kind of practical, let's say voluntary experience, even on a relatively part-time basis, it adds to their portfolio and it gives them a very strong chance of getting onto a Masters in Social Work. I'm not recommending it as a route to social work because it means you're doing the 4-year degree here, topped up then by 2 years with a Masters. But nevertheless, some students do take that route, having finished the first degree, they then want to do social work, and that's a possible route. And needless to say, of course, students who are of an academic bent will want to go on, and very often do go on and do advanced masters and doctorates and so on in social work and social policy, either in Trinity or indeed in many other places. And so I guess it's worth emphasising that if you take a degree in Trinity and you've done well in that, it's a card that you can play to great advantage in international competition for doctorate and master's programs in universities in other countries. So it would be a good undergraduate degree from here, or a master's from here, would be very highly regarded internationally. This is the detail about how you apply. This is all very familiar, I'm sure. Separate application for mature students and school leavers. And in case you didn't know, as if you haven't heard this already, our school has a stall over in the exam hall. This is the TCD website, and this is the more local website for our school. I don't think there's anything else I need to add. There would still be a presence over at our desk in the exam hall until later in the afternoon. Laurie and I are both around here now for anybody who wants to ask anything. And of course, mature students can of course separately talk to the mature student desk outside in the hall.